So welcome to this video. What we're going to do now is go over the ring light and the phone setup. Before we get started, you can be using any phone, whether you're an Android or iOS user. This is fine. This is the phone that I use that's in my pocket every day, so why not go ahead and use it? So that's what I want you to do as well. Make sure you have a smartphone at least, so that you have different viewing options. Phones are great for video, and we're going to talk about how to create simple quality videos. So the two things that we need one, a phone. Two is going to be a nice ring light. So as you can see, we have a ring light, and then also, so on this ring light, we have different modes as well. So if we look at the light, we can see that the color temperature is changing. So we want to make it full bright white. So that's going to be the middle setting on the M. And then we could also bring the exposure up and down. And we are not using any other lights. We are only using this one. So just to kick things off, that's going to be the main setup. So we're going to bring it to the lowest setting, which is this for now. And we're going to start off with how to achieve a good quality video. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to have a quiet location. And for us, we are in a studio. This could be a home, an office, anywhere that you have to be able to film. So I'm just gonna record on the video right now. And the reason I chose this specific spot or location is because I'm gonna pretend that we're doing a YouTube episode for our card show. And this is our set wall. So if I back up a little bit here, this is kind of the idea that I'm thinking of using. Typically, I have that camera, the Blackmagic, and we have this beautiful microphone. And for this, we're going to talk about just on a minimal budget. In fact, you may just have to get a light like this. That's what you could be doing. The other option as well is to bring in a nice softbox. So for your lighting, you could just use this instead. So, as you can see, this light is beautiful. When it hits the skin, it's nice and soft, wraps around. That's gonna be an option as well. But for this video, we're just gonna focus on the ring light. So that's gonna be our setup. In terms of sound, the Rode SmartLab Plus is gonna be an option. For us, we have an overhead boom mic. That's what we're gonna use, and we're also gonna show and listen into the phone quality, just so you know. I would use a better microphone. I just don't have one because I use higher end microphones. So you could record to an external device. In the workbook, we have a microphone that you could attach. That microphone is away right now for a documentary, so I don't have access to it. However, you could be using another type of microphone. So we're gonna be mixing in with this camera and that sound, and also with this video, just to show you good sound and good video and good light. When we combine them all, this is what it takes. So let's move that camera over, and don't forget, step one, have a quiet location and find your setup. That's gonna be number one. So we're gonna get into step two, and then we'll get into the other ones as well. So now that we have our location set up, we're gonna talk about the next part of our setup. That's gonna be the setting up of the light and the camera. So that's gonna be number two. And of course, we have this beautiful ring light, and we are already recording because I need a facing view because the other camera is off to the side. And we have this little adapter here. So this is an adapter for this ring light. Most ring lights come with it. If I punch the M for the menu, you're gonna see the color temperature change. So we're gonna go for this more daylight, so this pure white type of look, and I think that that looks the best. And what we're gonna do is try to get an idea for the exposure. So this is fairly bright, and you may want this depending on what you want. But typically when you're filming, especially with your phone, you have a lot of capabilities for your auto exposure. So what you're gonna do when you expose your shot is you're just going to tap on what you want to expose. So let's get this fairly close. Let's start at the bottom, and then we'll bring it up a little bit. So I would say about there, we should be able to get a good exposure once we have it set up. So that's kind of going to be where we start. And so number two, we want to get the setup. So what goes into a setup like this? Well, number one, we are shooting horizontal. So a lot of you may want to do vertical. So in order to change that, all we have to do is turn the camera like so. And this could be a very cool vertical video. And this would be great for Instagram if you're going live as well. You could read the feeds and whatnot. But typically I find that, especially if you're going to be editing in post, there's the other camera. Horizontal video is really nice. And we could also leverage it to compose our shot. And again, we're going for a simple video. We're not going for a Hollywood movie here. We just want things to be bright and nice. And as you can see, this light is stunning because we have a nice soft look. And because it's round, it looks really good to the eye. So if you zoom in on my eyes, it's going to mimic the sun. I know it seems like, oh, big deal, you're kind of mimicking the sun, but it's very natural. It's a very natural source of light. Whereas the big softbox, that's going to be more of a square light. So we're also going to cut to the in-camera sound. So when you're listening to this, this is very feasible. However, if you can get a dedicated microphone, we have some in the workbook. We just don't have them with us today. So those are going to be great options as well. And we're already getting somewhere. And in terms of the height, the perspective and composition, if I move out of frame, you can see our little R setup. So everything in our video has a bit of context. Context is going to be any sort of message that you're explaining in your scene, your mise en scène. It'll be everything that's in your scene. So for us, it's a sports card show, sports card channel, and we have different cards in the background. So we got some Michael Jordan stuff, Zion Williamson, a current player. We have his jersey, we have hockey. All of this sends a message and it helps us sell the story. So for example, if I were to be, hey, welcome to Red Cape Sports. Today we're gonna go over our top 5 sports cards for 2021. Already you get an understanding as to, hey, this is a sports card show. It's really gonna elevate the production. So for us, you could set up something like this at home with just one wall. This could be a bedroom. You could be sitting down, and we're gonna have that option for you in the next lecture as well. So we are still on step number 2. That is going to be setting up your light in your camera. For us, as you can see here, everything is attached in one. So how do we get the video? I'm gonna stop this and we're gonna just record with the other one for now. So for step 3, we're gonna talk about the video. So what we're gonna do is exit out of the phone, and you can see all my other apps and other notifications. But what we're gonna do is focus in on the camera. So on the camera, if we hit that, we're gonna go into the video or photo mode. So if we scroll in these different options, we could take a nice photo. There we go. So we took some photo. We can go to our history and see everything else as well. So now that we have our exposure set up, if you haven't done that yet, again, number 3, you want to focus on your video settings. That's what you're going to focus on. You could hit your video, and now we're in the video mode. And don't forget, we are using cheaper equipment, so the light stand is kind of moving back and forth, but that's okay. We can be patient. So make sure your composition is pretty good. I know to be about this far away. We don't want to be too far from the camera because we have a wide angle shot. Being up close is powerful. It makes the audience feel like we're there with them. So this little button on the bottom right corner, if we hit that, that's going to change our frame rate. So 60 is going to be very smooth, better for slow motion. And for us, our only other real option is HD for this facing camera. So again, 720p in HD, 30 frames. So that's what we're looking for. So now we're gonna hit record. Okay, we're at 30 frames per second in full HD. And we're just gonna hit my face on the forehead. And that will get an exposure for that. So again, just get my face there. So now we have a good exposure for my face. We are filming at 30 frames per second in full HD. So we are filming at 30 frames per second in full HD. For us, we have an external microphone. That's gonna be the shotgun microphone just above us. If we cut to the in-camera sound, you can hear it and it's not quite as good. So that is going to be your simple setup. This is great for live stream. You could do this with Instagram, Facebook. So that's all we have for you. We will see you in the next demo.